Ladies and gentlemen, the following is brought to you by the KeithAndrewNetwork. You're watching the talk show host of a learning disability. It's available on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn. I'm your host, Keith Andrew, the creator of the Keith Andrew Network. Today, we sit down with Jake, who's also known as a school teacher and upcoming professional actor. We're going to hear from his struggles from the day he was born to reaching his goals as being a mainstream actor. With that being said, we're going to hear from him when we come back from this commercial break.
Hi, my name is Jake, and I was just interviewed by Keith Andrews. And let me tell you, this is one stand-up guy. We had a great conversation. When he approached me, when he told me about his ideas, what he's doing with his talk show, I immediately wanted to get on. I said, I have a story to tell. I want to meet this guy. Let's do it. And it came to be. We put it together. We finally met.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'm your host, Keith Andrew, and you're watching the talk show host with a learning disability. The following is brought to you by the Keith Andrew Network. The Keith Andrew Network is proud to present the talk show host with a learning disability. That's available on LinkedIn, YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, and all social medias. Our guest already introduced himself. Jake, welcome to the one and only Keith Andrew Network.
Hi, Keith. Thanks for having me on. I'm glad we connected. Finally made this happen.
Absolutely, it's a real honor and privilege. Now, the first subject we're going to talk about is icebreakers. Tell our
Okay,
audience a little bit about yourself and the type of work that you do.
sure. Well, I grew up in Smithtown, just like anybody else, any other kid, but I had a problem right before I entered second grade. I had a blood clot and it burst, and I ended up in a coma for 4.5 months. So, so right off the bat, sorry, but I'm telling you about my disability. Um, I had a blood clot, it burst. I was taken to the hospital. I was, they did brain surgery, cut me from here to here, opened up my head, took out the dead brain tissue. I'm missing my cerebellum, which is my balance portion of my brain, some of my medulla as well. I stopped breathing on the table, had several strokes, and ended up in a coma, as I mentioned, for 4.5 months. Um, that aside, you can go into that and ask me questions about it afterwards, but I want to tell you what I'm currently doing now. I'm currently a English as a new language teacher for a District 75 school in New York City. And District 75 schools are for students with disabilities. So the majority of my students, actually all of my students, are students with autism.
Now, you mentioned a good subject, but I was actually going to ask you about your acting, but let's just stay on the subject.
Okay.
And we can talk about politics, we can talk about anything you want. With Trump cutting the Board of Education, he wants to get rid of it completely. As a school teacher, how does that make you feel in knowing that they're going to eliminate the education?
I feel that he should not be doing this. I don't know where he's coming from, because the students who are who have a disability are in need of services, and everyone is entitled to an education, and that's how I feel.
No, you're right. And to be honest, they don't want public schools, and some people say there's racism about it, why they don't want kids to go and mix. The point is, the kids are supposed to interact with each other and supposed to learn from their differences. It doesn't matter if you're white, black, or Spanish. It doesn't matter if you're disabled. Public schools serve a purpose. Now, with if there, God forbid, there's no public schools, there'd probably be charter schools, there'd be probably private schools. But hypothetically, the better it's up in the air. It may go that way or may not go anywhere. So it's really scary that they're really following the Project 25 that they want to get rid of it. There's just absolutely no reason why they have to get rid of public schools.
It's insane. There's no reason at all. Everybody, as I said, is entitled to an education. Everybody needs to go to school, and we teach. I teach, and my colleagues as well, and all District 75 schools teach out of the box. Anyone can learn. You have to be able to teach the way that you can and the way that the students learn. Not everyone learns the same way. But everyone's entitled and everyone can learn.
You hit you hit the nail on the head. For me, I fell under the spectrum of the R word because I read at a slower pace. I process things at a slower pace. Sometimes I slur my words. I try to hide my disability by hitting up the show, talk show host with a disability. But the point is, look at what I have accomplished in 12 and a half years. Thanks to you, we have reached our goal of 1,200 episodes. So if I can do that with a disability, there's absolutely no reason why you can't, or anyone for that matter, can't go out and reach their dreams. So,
I tell you, when I told you already that I was in a coma, and after 4.5 months, I woke up, but I was reduced to an infantile stage at the age of 7. I had to learn how to walk and talk and eat and chew and go to the bathroom by myself. I was a baby again, as I said. So I learned all those things. I surpassed what the doctors told me. They said I wouldn't finish elementary school. Well, I went right back into elementary school with my twin brother, because my mom said I don't want to split my twin brothers up, with my twin sons up. So I went right back into third grade with him. I kept on going, honor roll, highest honors, elementary school, middle school, high school, graduated college, went to grad school, went to Korea and taught there for 2 years. And now I'm a public school teacher giving back to my students because I feel that is my mantra to give back what was given to me.
oh,
So there
well,
you go. You and we both excelled. I was also on the radio as well in college, but that didn't go far for me. I was just doing it in college. You're doing it right now, so that's awesome.
if you're ever up for it, maybe we can work together.
Maybe.
Let me ask you something. Well, there's two subjects, but a while ago, I was interviewed by Susan Brender, and she's a great person. With that being said, she said to me while we're on the subject that the education of the students of today are not really getting the best education. So let me ask you, do you think the education system is broken when you were a student?
I don't necessarily feel it's broken. I just don't understand some of the ways that students are being taught these days. I mean, I know the concept of how the teachers are teaching, and I know why they're teaching what they're teaching, but I feel when we were younger, or when I was younger rather, I didn't I learned a different way. So if that's the answer to your question, then
You're right.
there
I, I agree with that.
you
Now,
go.
next, oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No. I was just trying to answer your question, and I'm not sure if I did it or not, but
No, I agree with you. Now we're going to take a quick commercial break, and when we come back, we're going to talk about breaking the glass ceiling when we come
okay,
back.
all right.
Next subject we're going to talk about is breaking that glass ceiling. Now, with everything you accomplished, even with your disability, you pretty much hit the proverbial wall and you had to learn everything from scratch. And that's not really a bad thing. But look at you now that you completely shattered the glass ceiling of saying, hey, he has a disability. Can I use this? And I'm guilty of it. I used it as a crutch. I don't have to do this. I don't have to do that. People will feel sorry for me. But at the end of the day, you labeled yourself as an influent, saying you expect things to be handed to you. No one deserves to go through life like that. So both of us, we shattered that glass ceiling. And look at you, you're now a school teacher and you are also an actor. You inspired millions of people with and without disabilities. And I think that's absolutely commendable.
Thank you, thank you. Um, as I mentioned earlier, in college, I was a radio DJ, college radio DJ. So, and I was also in the theater. I was part of the group in Oneonta, Mask and Hammer. I was part of the group there, and we performed some shows. So in college, I was not afraid to be on the radio for people to hear my voice and for people to actually see me on stage. When I graduated college, I did community theater, and I was not afraid for people to see me on stage. I generally was a comedic character. I brought the comedic character. I brought myself on stage. I brought my disability to the stage. So you would think that a person would be discouraged or not want themselves to be out in the open, to be on stage in front of people. But I did that. I brought my disability to the stage and I made myself the comedic character. I did that with um, those the plays. Sorry, excuse me. I did that with the community theater plays, and then eventually with my murder mystery troupe. I was the manager and performer of a murder mystery troupe, and that was going on for many years, about 10 to 15 years. Can't remember how many exactly. And as we talked about earlier, I became a teacher. So I did all those things. And not only did I do them, but I also mentioned earlier that the doctors didn't even think I would finish elementary school. And here I am doing all these things.
If you go next year, will be officially 20 years since I graduated high school. And if you go back 20 years, I'm not the same. Thank God for that. I'm not the same person who I was. I taught myself everything. I was unable to go to college because I fall under the spectrum. I can't read, I can't write. I mean, I can write, but reading was not something I'm really good at. If it's something like short sentences, okay. But if you tell me to read a book, I'm gonna be like a freaking deer in the headlights. So I'm like, okay, I have a passion for professional wrestling. I love Dragon Ball, hint of the dragon behind me. How can I start my life, start my career, and collaborate all those things that I have together and show people with disabilities I will prove you wrong. Hashtag I will prove you wrong. And since June 10th, 2013, and thanks to you for 12 and a half years, this June 10th will be officially 12 years, but whatever, I'm not gonna wait
Nice.
until June. But I'm showing you that labels do not dictate who you are and who you're going to be. So prove
Exactly.
them against them out to something.
You, me, we are in charge of our lives.
It's like the expression, who are you living your life for? And the answer is you're living your life for yourself. You're not living your life for anyone else. But the next thing I want to talk about is you mentioned that you were an actor. Who attracted you to begin? Well, yeah, I guess in a way it's two parts. Who attracted you to begin your acting career, and what attracted you to start your acting career?
Okay, well, so I was in a coma. I had disabilities, or I have disability. I I had trouble walking. My doctors said that I could not play any contact sports. I wanted to. I wanted to actually be to do wrestling in middle school. I remember telling my mother that, but I couldn't do it. The doctors told me that there's a chance if you hit your head again, maybe you'll something will happen. So I decided not to, and I decided to take my creativity into the acting world. So in 11th grade in high school, I decided I'm going to audition for a play. I'm going to bring my skills, my disability, whether I needed to have one or not on stage, whether I needed to be the comedic character or not on stage, um, to the stage, and I'm going to try. I'm going to audition. I'm going to do it. And it worked out. I got a part, and it kept going from there. I loved it. Everyone was watching me. Well, everyone in the cast, but I was on stage. When I was on stage, they were watching me. I loved it. I could play a character. So I could play a character that wasn't myself. Not that I didn't want to be myself, but I was able to be somebody else at that moment in time. To and it felt good. I liked it. And that's why I continued.
No, I agree. Now, what were some of your greatest achievements, and are you working on anything now?
I am working on something now. I don't know if it'll truly come to fruition, but my greatest achievements thus far, I guess, in the acting world, in what I have done, um, would have to be the murder mystery troupe that I had. I was a manager and a performer, and as I told you, I'm always the comedic character. And my character was a lot of fun to play because I was able to bring myself into it, who I am into it. I have a disability based on what happened to me, and my cerebellum, which is the balanced portion of your brain, is missing. So my gait, they call it, the balance is off. I walk like a drunk person. So my character in one of our murder mystery shows was a drunk. So I said, wait, great, I'm a shoo-in for that. I can do that. So I try to bring who I am into my character. So that was one of my greatest achievements because I got the most laughs out of that. And I enjoyed it.
Gonna take a quick commercial break, and when we come back, we're gonna talk about COVID and social media. When we come back, we're back from the quick commercial break. We're gonna talk about COVID and social media, but I want to give a shout out for anyone who's a fan of WWE SmackDown. That's right, WWE SmackDown. It's available on the USA Network tonight in the East Coast at 8 p.m. If you're on the West Coast, 5 o'clock Western. Also, if you miss it, that's okay. It will be available on Peacock and YouTube. Great matches for WWE SmackDown. We're 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 o'clock Western. we are on the road to WWE Backlash. You get to see for the very last time John Cena versus Randy Orton for the WWE Championship. Also, Becky Lynch will be in our very first Intercontinental Championship match. All that. Backlash will be available on May 10th on Peacock, but tonight on the USA Network, it's WWE SmackDown. So the first subject we're going to talk about is the coronavirus. How has COVID impacted your life? And also on the subject, social media. Are you a fan of social media?
I do like my Facebook. That's about as far as it goes. Um, are you inquiring about any
Well, the
specific
reason
type of
I asked
social
you about
media?
social media is you are an actor, and obviously teasers are not really supposed to have social media, but you are an actor. So Facebook, Instagram, has these websites helped you with your acting career? And because of COVID impacted so many lives, do you think COVID impacted your life? And do you see it differently?
Well, it did. So yes, I use Facebook, and that used to help me promote my murder mystery dinner theater. Um, and it used to promote some of the other projects I may be involved in. But as far as COVID is concerned, well, COVID cut our murder mystery dinner theater. As soon as that came by, we weren't able to do that anymore because we used to go to fraternal organizations, churches, temples, hospitals, fire departments, um, you name it, and restaurants, and we used to get in front of the audience's faces, and we used to act right in front of them, not on the stage, in front of them. We used to try to involve the audience. Well, during COVID, that couldn't happen anymore because we just didn't want to we didn't want the contact. I'm sure the audience didn't want it, and we didn't want it. So that kind of put a stop to that, and everybody else in the cast went their separate ways. So that was in the acting world. In the teaching world, everybody had to hop on either Zoom or a Google Meet, and they have to do their teaching from their computer from home. Uh, that was terrible. I don't know how it was for the general education, but for myself, for District 75, for the children with autism, uh, we tried to do the best we could, but it's hard because I worked with elementary school children and even middle school children, I'm sure, and high school children. It was tough to sit in front of a computer for hours on a day and just watch someone unless they were playing a video. So that's how it impacted.
No, I agree. Now we're going to wrap up the show. I do have a couple questions for you off the air, but let me ask you, have you accomplished everything that you set your goals for?
I want to say I have. Uh, I've gone through all this schooling and I've gone further than the doctors would have ever imagined, probably further than some of my family members would have even imagined. But I did it. I pushed myself. I persevered. I had everybody backing me. I'm, I, as I said, I went through all that schooling. I'm married. I've been married for a number of years. I have a son. This might not have all been possible if things went a different way. I mean, I was on my deathbed, I have to say, but it turned out wonderful. Everything, everything I aspired to, everything I wanted, it just worked out. And now, I think to answer your question from earlier, I do have some projects in the fire that I'm thinking about. Um, I have a skit that I want that I'm trying to put together. I also believe in possibly trying to do stand-up comedy. I don't know if that will. amount to anything, but it's always a thought in my mind.
Absolutely. I do have a couple questions for FDR, but here's a fun subject. Now, the next one I want to talk to you about is favorite songs and bands. Do you have any favorite bands and favorite songs?
Oh boy, there's so many bands out there. Let's see. Right now, wow, there's so many out there. I can't think of any.
Well, for an example, I'm a big
Um,
fan of Rush, Zeppelin, Iron Maiden, Metallica. There's a new band called Ghosts. That's this Mariana Cross. That's a great song. But I understand it's a hard subject because there's so many great bands to listen to.
yeah, I listen to everything from golden oldies, which my mom introduced me to. We would sit in the car and she would sing along with them, and I started to learn the words, and I sang as a child. So I would start from the golden oldies, meaning the 50s, and sometimes even the 40s. The 50s, I would say, all the way up until actually I guess up until today, but I'm not as familiar with the music of today um, than when I was a college radio DJ and I used to actually play all the music. Um, but I would listen to rock and classic rock and hip hop and R&B and a lot of the different genres there. So it's kind of hard for me to choose a certain band right now.
No, I agree.
Or a song even.
But I want you to be brutally honest. When I first approached you to be a guest on my talk show, what made you say yes, and how do you feel now?
What made me feel, what made me say yes? Well, I think the way you approached me, you had mentioned something in your advertisement about a disability. And I said, well, I think I have a story to tell. I've been through a lot and I want to make it known and I want to try to see if I can help people or to aspire to where and to show everybody what they to, excuse me, to basically tell everybody that they can be whoever they want to be and don't let anybody discourage them. I think that was it. I think you approached me talking about a disability, and I said I have a disability. I have a story to tell. I want to be on your show.
Absolutely.
I want to meet you.
I do have a couple questions for you off the air. But our goal is to reach 500 and more views. This will be shared on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, and YouTube. If you're watching, you're obligated to leave a like, a comment for me, our guests. We would love to interact with you. And once we reach our goal, we definitely will do a part 2. But wrapping up, it was a real honor and privilege having you as a guest. I want to say thank you very much for taking the time to support me and our message. And I look forward to part 2. Until we meet again, I catch you later. Thank you.
Thank you.
Have a good night.